Welcome once more, Cougar Academy, Algebra 2B, to Lesson 7.6. How do you take the composition of functions? Okay, here is some tricky stuff, but by the end of it, you'll be masters. So some new notation to get by here. Same idea, we have two functions, Fred and Gary. Okay, and what we're doing now is taking the composition. Look at this weird looking expression here. FG negative 3. No, it's not multiplication. No, it's not division, addition. This is what we call the composition of functions. When you have two functions, one of them is embedded in the other one. Okay, the key thing with these is to start in the middle and work your way out. Okay, so we're going to start by finding G at negative 3. Okay, so we're starting with good old Gary here, and we're plugging in negative 3. So 2 times negative 3 minus 5, that's negative 6 minus 5. That is negative 11. Okay, now you're not done yet, but we found that first part. Now, with that first part, that negative 11, we are now going to put it into the outer function, f. So Fred now comes and wants that negative 11, so we're going to consider n squared plus n, only negative 11 squared plus negative 11. Okay, well that's 121 minus 11, or 110. Okay, so you start from the inside and work your way out. Okay, inside to outside. And other than that, evaluating these hopefully isn't too bad. Okay, so HG7. Starting at G of 7. Okay, that just means whatever n is, we're going to put in 7. So this part is just 7 plus 3. Well, that's 10. With 10, we're then going to put it into Howard. So Howard at 10. Be careful, Howard is negative n squared, so negative 10 squared minus 3. Okay, again, it's this that we're putting in. Okay, negative 10 squared is negative 100 minus 3, which is negative 103. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, some more evaluating here. G at negative 2 first. So again, start from the inside. So this would be, really it's right here, negative 2 to the third plus negative 2. Negative 2 to the third. If you have a calculator, that's fantastic. Negative 2 to the third, and even a non-graphing calculator will help you out. It's negative 8 minus 2, which is negative 10. With that negative 10, you are then going to put that into h. So h is x minus 2, so negative 10 minus 2, which is negative 12. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So that's h. All right, last one. Certainly, if you want to pause and give it a shot, you can yourself. I'm going to go through G negative 5, 3 times 5, or positive 5, sorry. So 15 minus 5 is 10. And 2 times 10 minus 5, this is F, is 20. And we get 15. Okay, so working away from the inside out. Same process for the next ones, only now we're writing as a new function. And it's a little trickier whenever there's no numbers to actually involve. So now we're just evaluating at a variable. So it's pretty much the same in that we're going to start with g of n. So I'm going to highlight the fact that g of n is everything in green. So g of n, I'm just going to write that down. Now, what we are doing for composing this is wherever n is in Fred, we're putting the green thing, okay? So this green thing, Gary, is now n, okay? So this is also n from Fred. Now, the only extra thing is we have this plus 1, okay? So n plus 1 is really here, only we're replacing n with Gary. So you can see how it's a little confusing at first, and we will just rewrite this as h of x. Okay, 3n plus 5, so ignore that part. I was just emphasizing that that is what the first n is. 3n plus 5, adding like terms, is just 3n plus 6. That's the composition. You can write it as a new function, h of x. Okay, it's going to be tricky at first. You'll be like, what's going on? But again, start your way from the inside and just kind of work your way out, replacing the variables with one another. Okay, h of g of t. Okay, so we have g of t. You're going to write that out first. So just write it out. Negative 4t minus 3. Okay. Now, one thing to kind of note is let's highlight the t's in the one above. So t and t. T and t. Dynamite. Okay. Now, anywhere you see t, we're replacing it with what we just wrote down. Okay. So imagine almost just copying and pasting this into that t. So it would be negative 4 squared minus 5 times that there. Okay, you have 2 spots to put it in. So here, a little more challenging mathematics for you. Nothing you haven't seen. Remember, you're going to need to FOIL this first part. So you're going to have to write it out twice. The second part, you can probably go ahead and tackle that a while. 20t plus 15. Okay, this is 16t squared, first, outers, minus, actually plus 12t plus 12t plus 9. And we're going to combine our like terms, 16t squared plus 24t plus 9 plus 20t plus 15. And the last step is we have a bunch of t's and we have the 9 and 15. So 16t squared plus 44t plus 24. That is the composition of those. So a little more challenging, but it's been a while since I really challenged you. Overall, though, that first step is the vital part, substituting everything in and then going from there. Okay, let's do a few more, just 2 more examples here. G of n, h of n. Again, start just by writing h out. So negative 3n minus 2. Okay, what we're doing is we're plopping this into the one above. So n, so really we just have to tack on the plus 5. An easy example after that last one. Negative 3n minus, actually plus 3 is what the new function would be. You can name it or you can just write it out. I don't mind. Okay, last one. So this one looks funky. We're composing it within itself. Huh? Well, just start the same way. Okay, 2x. Boop, boop. So we wrote it out, and we are essentially just plugging it back into itself. So putting another 2 in front. Okay. So that's the 2. This was the first part. 2 times 2 is 4x. Okay, so that, we can even call that g of x, is it there. Okay, so new notation, new things to watch out for, old skills come back to play like FOIL. But I believe in you. You can do this. Evaluating the first part and writing functions the second part. Good stuff, guys. Thank you.